Well, we're just clearing the gear prod. Phil, we'd be killing to have someone else on board now. I am so glad I came out again. I just love it. Oh, you can feel he's a big fish when he's throwing me around the boat like this. Yes! Oh my God, that's a big fish. Alrighty, Phil, we're out here now. Time to put the gear in. Time for a big tuna. Great. Look at that! Oh, done this one. You got two on there? I'll just see if I can get another one. You won this up and I'll go. Right, we're going to take that one. Oh yeah! Did you see the explosion on that? Oh, we just went past sperm whales and we're thinking, oh, you know, this looks pretty good out here. And the next thing you know, and I was just thinking, we could be on soon. And then before you know it, it's game on. We had a double, missed one, hooked another one. And then it's on big time. And there's a bit of weight on this baby too. Well, we're just clearing the gear prod. Phil, we'd be killing to have someone else on board now. I'll tell you what, it feels like a good fish. What we might do in a minute, I might get Phil to call the others and tell them that we're just hooked up. And press waypoint on there. This is important when you're fighting these fish, is that you mark it and put it on so it's on your GPS. You know that where you got the bite, because in the heat of the moment, you're like, oh, what happened there? And before you know it, you've lost track of what's going on. What we're basically doing, we're just out of gear and we're just winding, just working the fish up, just nice and steady. And I'll probably have to go the harness because I can feel there's a bit of weight on this one. Thanks, Phil. Part of the reason we do it is that we get, like in this case that Phil's doing, put the harness on and stuff like that. If this is a big fish, I don't want to tire myself out early. I want to be right up into him and fight him good and keep the battle going really well. Hang on a second. Get that on. And you can see when I'm fighting it, my hand's on top of the spool. And instead, I don't fight the fish like that. I got the weight in here. I lean in, use your legs. This is where all the power is down here. The other trick I do is I turn the ratchet on and off. So you got to communicate while you're fighting. If he runs, I can click it in. I just click the reel, put the ratchet on for a sec. I don't have to tell him, he can hear the fish is running. When it stops, I take it out of gear. And that way, it's because it's out of gear now, and I can turn it on in a second there and go, yep, it's in gear. Zzz. And this is coming into the vital stages, these final stages of the fight. And I'm going to drop this harness pretty soon. You can see, this is the wind on leader coming on there, and it's just on the reel. Now I either want it on or off. So I'm dropping my drag down now. Phil's keeping the boat in gear. And we might knock one on the head to eat and then let some go. So I might get a gaff out if you want there, Phil. And now it's time for fish facts, thanks to the Complete Angler. Long-tailed tuna are also known as northern bluefin. Now, they look very similar to a southern bluefin tuna, except they're much longer. However, where they differ is they spend their lives up in tropical waters, and they prefer shallows. Found right around the northern half of Australia, you'll commonly find them in bays and inshore coastal waters, nearly always under birds, and they feed constantly. Coming up after the break, I am so glad I came out again. I just love it. destination profile for the tough and reliable Mitsubishi Triton. Sydney is a boater's paradise with 4 major waterways right in its midst. Port Hacking, Botany Bay, Broken Bay to the north, and of course the harbour itself. All 4 of these waterways have decent ramps to give you access to the offshore waters. With no bars to cross, they provide safe passage in any condition. Botany Bay will give you the shortest run to the continental shelf, while Broken Bay has the biggest run. The only downside to Sydney is the appalling traffic, so the best approach is always to avoid peak hour, otherwise you might never get on the water. If you want to chase the tuna, the best fishing is during the winter months, where the calm conditions allow you to make the long runs to the fishing grounds well offshore. Remember to reel in the tough and reliable turbo diesel Triton at your local Mitsubishi dealer today. We got the fish up to the boat pretty quick, which normally happens, and then he bolted down deep, and now he's right down deep. And we're just trying to coax him back up. We're going forward slow. Phil's on the wheel there, just keep going forward, and we're trying to plane him up a bit and turn the ratchet off there, and trying to get him to come back up. And you can tell it hurts a bit. Yeah, and just slowly get him up a bit in the water column there, and hopefully get another look at him, and maybe get left hand down to touch bait, and get a look at him and see. He looks big. He came up before, we saw him, and he looks like a good fish. Oh, thought he was coming up for a minute. You can see there's a lot of pressure there. I can barely move the spool. The bluefin do like to fight up on top, you know, a lot of the time. The funny thing is, I don't know why this is called fun. It's bloody hard work. Slow down a bit there. Trying to work out which way he's going. Oh, shaking his head there. You can see when he shakes his head, he just turns around and rips his head up. He's come up, he's had a look at the boat, and he's not too sure about it. I am so glad I came out again. I just love it. Just being out on the ocean and hooking up to a big fish. Woohoo! There we go, that's the angle. There you go, you can ease up now. See how you get him as soon as he comes out from under the boat. He keeps coming under the boat, so what we do is we put some angle in and get him up, and then he planes up. You can see here that line starting to plane out. And what we want is, with the tuna, is we don't want him coming straight up. We want him coming up over there, and we can bring him into us gently. God, I'd kill for a satellite tag now. I would love to be satellite tagging this fish. There's my double there. Just swing around to him a bit if you like. See if he's... What Phil's going to do now is he's edging across to him a little bit there. On that angle there is good, mate. Oh, you can feel he's a big fish when he's throwing me around the boat like this. Here he goes again. Like I literally get ripped around from side to side.
Yeah, we're hooked up 0647.
What we're doing in the background is there's a couple of boats out here. We've got Ads in my old boat, we got George on Wahoo, and you can hear him there now. He's obviously a little bit further away. And it's a teamwork thing that this is a massive ocean. And trying to find these fish can be really hard. So what we do is we spread out. And you can hear now George wants to come over and have a look, because we found a patch of fish here, and you know, just go left hand down, mate, you're swinging over him again. There he is underneath us there. Well, we're almost cracking the hour mark on this fish. That's a good fish, and it's the biggest one we've got. We've caught some weird fish, we've caught some wild fish, and now we're catching some damn big fish. Fish like the pros with the Complete Angler, who've been helping you fish since 1967. Now, when it comes to catching big tuna, I love my hard body lures like the old Laser Pro. But the trick is you must swap the treble hooks to singles. Single hooks will give you a much better hookup rate and catch you bigger tuna. After the break. Woo-hoo-hoo! Yes! Oh my God, that's a big fish. Environmental tip, thanks to Club Marine, Australia's largest insurer of pleasure craft. Back in episode 5, we tagged those bluefin with Sean Tracy down at Bermaguri. Well, the tags have popped off and we now know where they are. Can you believe they've only travelled down to Tasmania? They're still on the east coast. This is in dramatic contrast to the mako sharks which we tagged off Sydney. Now, the bluefin we thought would travel all the way around to the Great Australian Bight. The makos we thought would stay in the waters, sort of New South Wales waters. Instead, the makos went to Queensland, right up the Coral Sea. The bluefin haven't moved at all. This raises more questions than it answers and shows the need that we must learn more about these fish if we're going to manage them. We need to get more electronic tags so we can understand and learn where these fish go. That way, we'll be able to protect them. I just really hope I can land this fish. This is pretty special for a Sydney tuna, I tell ya. Look at that, there's a wind on there, he is up on the top there. God, you're almost going to see some fins coming out. He's tailing like a marlin, look at the size of him. Well, we're reaching almost the hour-and-a-half point, I think it is now, and unfortunately the odds are against us. We've got the fish just here, and you can see the wind-ons up, and you can actually just see him through the water there, tailing underneath. The problem is, Phil's driving, Justin's on the camera, I'm on the rod. Now, we really need someone to lead her, just to help guide the fish in those final stages, but Phil can't really leave the wheel. On top of that, we're going to take this fish, so we're going to try and put a gaff in it. You see what I mean? We're missing a few bodies. What we're going to try and do is, I will unharness during those final stages. If we can get the fish to sit happily, we're just going to keep the boat just in gear, and then Phil's going to go leader it. He's not using gloves, just using his hands just to hold it. See if he can hold it there. And I'm going to go for the gaff and try and pin him. What we want is that fish just to sit out here. It's a bit nervous. Oh, look at that tail. Oh, look at him, he's beautiful. Oh, I love him. Come on. Oh, so close. Oh, kill for crew. Drags down. Now this is a good fish. Yes! Oh my God, that's a big fish. Oh my God, that's a good fish.
Well done, mate. Well done.
Ah! 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 I'm feeling the pain and I'm feeling the love. Well, Phil, we did it, mate. We bloody did it. That is a huge, huge tuna.
It's massive, mate. It's an absolutely amazing looking fish.
You know, we're fighting it. I tell you, I was stressing a few times down thinking, oh, I'd kill for an extra crewman, anyone just to help us. But we got it. And, you know when you just look at it and go, even I'm speechless at times. And that's got to be a big fish if I go quiet. It's just beautiful. Now let's measure it. I think we find out how long this baby is because I think she must go close to 100.
Yeah, I think she's pretty big. Let's have a go.
All right. So you run it down there, mate?
Yeah, run it down here. Actually, Al, thinking about it, we should measure it properly, which is measuring actually on the flat rather than over the body. So we'll try and put it right down on the snout of his nose,
okay.
on the point there.
So it's actually flat against it.
So it's flat on the ground.
So from about, so run it from about there. Yep, you're on the
flat there, okay. To the fork of the tail. And we've got about, we've got 181 there.
How big is he, mate? What's he say on the chart?
Well, the chart goes to 180, so this one's off the chart.
He's off the chart. That's what I wanted. Well, I tell you what, Phil, that is a sensational fish off Sydney. You'd say that's world class.
Absolutely, Al. It's a massive, massive fish, and it's off Sydney.
You think about it, all the travelling we do, you know, it's all the trailer boats up and down the coast, and we get the best fish so far right at our doorstep. World class fishing. That's it, that's it. Woohoo! When I'm fishing the open water on this great country of ours, I always rely on Shimano to get the job done. They have a great range of rods, reels, accessories, lures, and even clothing for every fishing need. And now, the Complete Angler are giving you a chance to win $2,000 worth of Shimano gear just by shopping in store. All you have to do is head into your local Complete Angler store, buy any item, fill out the entry form, and you're a chance to win this awesome prize. I know Complete Angler and Shimano have never let me down, so why don't you find out for yourself? For full terms and conditions, go to completeangler.com.au. Big Fish, Small Boats has been an amazing journey. We've battled some pretty extreme conditions, but we've caught some awesome fish. Now, fishing is so much more than just catching fish. It's the environment and, of course, fishing with all your mates. But one thing I really wanted to highlight during this series was how to preserve the environment. And there was no better way to start than getting Steph Brodie out and acoustically tagging those kingfish, which are now pinging away, showing us where they are. And then following up with catching those hairtail in Sydney Harbour. That was something I'd never done before, and it was a steep learning curve. Satellite tagging has played a massive role in this series. We went to Bermagui, travelled 100 k's offshore just to put the tags in the fish, all in the name of science. But the Mako sharks off Sydney, that's the one that takes the cake. We really struggled to get a tag into the fish, but we made some great TV. At the sacrifice of poor old Phil Bolton. He almost lost a hand to one fish, then he got belted in the head by another one, but it all looked good on the television. Now, that paled in comparison to the Mako shark encounter. Diving with fish can be dangerous, and in this case I saw almost how dangerous it can be as a huge Mako pushed me out of the way to eat a marlin. But we've done some amazing things underwater, and in particular, it shows that not all the situations are dangerous. We dived with a huge sunfish, the biggest fish in the sea, and showed how beautiful and docile some fish can be. Mind you, that was at the other end of the spectrum to the giant squid that got eaten by the blue shark. It became an internet sensation on YouTube and showed something that's never been seen before. Instead of travelling to far-off locales and using expensive charter boats, we've done it the hard way, just like everyone else with a trailer boat. And most importantly, we fished local waters to show you what you can catch your own backyard in. The snapper fishing in Victoria was sensational. No, that session was phenomenal. And then, catching all those fish in Sydney Harbour with Daryl, that was just downright fun. But we've worked hard, and I mean really hard. In some cases to find the fish, we've put in day after day after day. For zeros, catching the jewfish in particular was a mission. We worked day in, day out for nothing and then caught that fish. And the elation is something that all trailer boat fishermen, all fishermen feel. And then we topped it off the next day, catching Daryl his first jewfish. It's little things like that. We wanted to show the highs and lows of fishing throughout this series. In Western Port, the pre-fish day, we had our best gummy shark fishing ever. Of course, the cameras came out the next day. Thank God we still caught some fish. But the crux of this series has been about catching really big fish. And there is no better way than topping it off with a record-sized bluefin tuna caught off Sydney. We worked hard, but we found the fish. And the amazing thing is, we took it one step further. Not just catching the tuna, but jumping in and swimming with them. We want to show you their world,
But the most exciting part was when we got the jumbos. Now, I'm talking fish that are 70, 80, 90, maybe 120 kilos. The guys decided to take it one step further. So what they did was they got a popper, they took the hooks off it and started casting it out. The reaction was insane. I've never seen anything like it in my life. The tuna just crashed this lure non-stop. They smashed it and smashed it and smashed it. As you can see, this lure now bears, well, some serious scars from that encounter. And I'll tell you what, it's still one of the most amazing things I've ever done. The only problem is, how on earth are we ever going to upstage this for season 2? Club Marine tips of the week. When it comes to catching big tuna and you're using those deep diving lures, always run single hooks and run your lures right back. Secondly, run short leaders. This is really important when you get the fish to the boat because it can be chaos. And finally, make sure you carry a lot of bait. If you get the tuna up on the troll, start throwing those pilchards over and get the tuna right at the back of the boat.